Hey, all, this is Hayden Baker. You're listening to the Texas Toast Podcast.
Best, so let's go.
Cheers, everyone. Welcome to the Texas Toast Podcast with Miss Helen. And I'm so happy and proud to introduce a returning guest and a friend of the podcast. Hello, Hayden Baker, and welcome again. It's so good to see you.
Hi, Helen. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
I am doing awesome. So you've been busy doing some music stuff, a lot of music stuff. And we're here mainly, we're going to catch up with you, but I want to talk about your new EP that's out called Growing Pains. And I know that you put a lot of thought into this with concept. And I want to start off by talking about the title and your cover photo that you have on it, because I know everything kind of ties together on that.
Yeah, so the title "Growing Pains" is the EP is essentially 5 songs that apply to the season of life that I've been in the past couple years in my 20s, figuring out how to be an adult, how to be a singer and a songwriter, and this whole thing. And the cover photo went along perfectly with that. I found a picture of me and my cousin and my sister when we were all in elementary school, and we had like fake guitars or like guitars that weren't plugged in, and we were playing a concert for the family on Christmas. And I was back to back with my cousin, and I was like, "Oh, it'd be perfect if I could just overlay a picture of me now and go back to back with myself." So yeah, I love the cover art. Andrew Quinn, he's the one that kind of put it together and edited it, and yeah, all the songs kind of revolve around that concept.
Yeah. I love an interesting story like that with details about and being so much being represented in the cover photo. So let's talk about, how did you choose the songs for this EP?
Yeah, so I decided to do this kind of concept EP around the end of the summer of last year because I've been in Nashville writing a bunch, and I had a ton of songs in the tank, and I knew I wanted to do like a big album, which we're in the process of making right now. But in the meantime, I thought it would be cool to kind of have this concept of growing pains going from my last album, which was like 2 years prior, now almost 3 years, and then between when my next one would come out and show the growth and like kind of me going through that period. And I had already written songs like "At Least I'm Here" and "Just Talking," and you had Papa's song "If I Get There Before You," which all kind of revolved around that that theme. And then we had just finished writing the new single "Midnight Drive," which that one really struck a chord with me. I was like, this kind of really embodies the theme of the EP as a whole. So it kind of worked out. And then you had Miss Your Lovin' on there too, which is me growing up and realizing I can tap into that kind of music, that gritty, bluesy kind of vibe, which I didn't know I had in me before. So yeah, that's kind of how they all came together.
I'm glad you talked about Midnight Drive, because I wanted to start off with that one because, there's nothing like taking a drive to clear your mind or just to go check things out. But it's just nothing like a moonlight. I just love the part about the moonlight and the mile marker signs, because
Yeah,
it's like there's nothing like driving down a dirt road when the moon's out, and just
absolutely.
that, just cruising, chilling, and clearing your mind. So tell me a little bit about, a little bit more detail about that particular cut.
Right, yeah, that one took a while to kinda come to fruition. I wrote it with, 2 of my frequent collaborators, Tom Perkins and Timothy Baker. They were also writers on "At Least I'm Here" with me, and, we had a session in Nashville, and we were kinda stumbling around for an hour or so, and Timothy just played this really nostalgic sounding chord progression, those 2 chords, that you hear in Midnight Drive, that kind of vibe, and I was like, "Dude, I don't know what that is, but we should chase that." And we did for a few hours, and we got like 3 lines out of it. I think the title at the time was like "Taking a Drive." We knew it was a driving song of sorts.
Mhm.
And I took it home. I really felt strongly about this one. I thought it was going to be really special. So I kind of threw a little bit of a chorus together and a little bit of a second verse. And then I came back to Nashville, and me and Tom kind of rewrote it and wrapped it up in a bow. And I think I may have rewritten the second verse again. It was a lot of rewrites on that one, but I love how it turned out. It really, for me, it's kind of the theme of the EP as a whole. It's like my favorite line in it is, "I don't know where I'm going. I just hope I'm getting somewhere." And that's kind of where I'm at. It's like I don't know where I'm going to end up. I just hope it's somewhere where the good Lord will make it fruitful and prosperous. So that's kind of what that song means.
Awesome. That's why I love these visits, to get to hear things like that, more in depth about the particular cuts on your EP. And
Yeah,
let's talk about Just Talking. I know that I think we may have talked about that one before. I know we have on the podcast, but just
yeah.
to kind of in depthly discuss your thinking and how you presented that when you were kind of dropping a single by single, and how that came about.
Right. So that I wrote that song myself in a different way a few years ago, like before I even had the publishing deal, I think. And at first it was the guy and the girl both agree that they're just talking, and they're like trying to convince their friends that they're not together. But it didn't land right. It didn't feel like a good solid like it stuck the landing. And so I took it to Nashville, and two younger writers, Dakota Striplin and Ariel Botel, who are signed with Ronnie's publishing company as well. And I was like, "Hey, I've got this idea that's it's very modern, and they're more on the pop side." And I was like, "And I want to really sell it well." And I thought about, well, let's make it to where the guy is like in love with the girl, and the girl is like, "Nah, we're just talking." I was like, that feels more like a country song to me. So I took it to them, and we kind of revamped it a little bit, and yeah, and then I threw that TikTok up of it just kind of
Yes.
talking about it, and boom, it just exploded. So that's been a really cool release. That one's it's on At least I'm Here, I think, is the most popular so far as streaming goes, but Just Talking is right behind it.
Right,
So
right. Yeah, At Least I'm Here. I love the honky tonk jam on that one.
yeah, that's my favorite, one of the favorite ones to play live. That one and Miss Your Lovin' is a blast to
Mhm.
play live. But yeah, that's just good old Hayden Baker honky tonk Telly, spanking the guitar. So
Well, and last but not least, a song that really touched my heart, and you and I both talked about the first time you came on the podcast, Pawpaws, and how special they are. And I know the story behind yours and how special yours was. And the first time I heard this song when it got sent over, and of course, you co wrote it with Trent Willman, which I think is
yeah,
interesting. But it was just one of those moments to where it grabbed at my heart. And
hmm,
I cried. I cried so hard, but it wasn't
yeah.
like this sad cry. It was like a grateful, thankful that you have people, that you were gifted with people like that in your life. So let's talk a little bit about that song.
Yeah, the theme of that song for me is hope. It's like being hopeful that there is something, for us on the other side and for our loved ones when they go. And yeah, I wrote that a couple days before he passed away. I was in Nashville and met with Trent, and I told him what was going on, and he had just recently lost his father a few months ago, so he was in a similar headspace. And I remember I didn't even take my guitar out of the case or open my laptop. He just started asking me questions about my grandparents and their ranch up in East Texas. And I started giving all these details about, the hummingbird feeders and the wind chimes and the house on the hill with the wraparound porch. And he just threw that chorus together and sang it. And I had to leave the room. I was like, dang, like that's it. That's wow. And we finished it in a couple hours, and I had a few hours until my flight home. I had, I think, a show that weekend, and I was going to go up and see him before he, passed away. And I blubbered through a work tape on my phone, and I sent it to my mom, who she was in the room with Papa at the hospital, and she played it for him. He was unconscious, but he got to hear it before he went home, which I think is really special. And then the family asked that I sing it at the funeral a couple weeks later, and I did. I kept my head down and didn't, look up so I didn't start losing it. I sang it there, and then I said, I'm never singing this song again. Like it's too hard. And then when we started planning this EP, I was like, you know what, this one's perfect for it, and let's put it out there and see if it can help some other people who are going through the loss of a loved one and give them some hope. So, and I think the music video turned out beautiful. That was done up at the farm, and there was so many things in there that was really special. One of the shots, I'm wearing a Cabela's hunting jacket that him and I both got together at the Cabela's in South Austin one Thanksgiving, and I was leaning up against his deer stand that we called it Pawpaw's stand, and that was his dog, his ranch dog, running around in it and all that kind of stuff. So that one turned out really special.
It's just such a gift, I know, for you and your family and for so many. So let's talk about your recording process. I know you did your recording at Rosewood, which is totally awesome. They do such great
Yeah,
work. How fun was that?
it was a blast. The EP we got pretty much recorded in the summer, beginning and end of it in 2022. Um, and I had a blast doing those. Travis Bishop, I brought him up there to co-produce with me, and then Drew Hall was the mixer and the engineer. And then we had my same crew that pretty much played on my last album: Jason Broussard on drums, Steve Cargill on bass, Bryce Clark on a lot of electric and acoustic guitar stuff. Milo Deering played steel and dobro, and then Jody Cameron played steel on At Least I'm Here, and Tim Crouch played fiddle.
Awesome
So great
job on
crew.
that. Yes.
And
Yes.
we just started a new album there a couple weeks ago. I think we got 8 songs tracked, and we're gonna do 5 more this month.
You have
So
been busy, super busy.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And this one's been cool because, like I said, Bryce Clark played a lot of electric and acoustic guitar on my last 2 projects, and I love his playing. He's so smooth. He's such a great studio musician. But for this one, I was like, one, I want to save a little bit of money because I'm doing a full on album. It's going to cost a lot. So it would save me money to not pay another guitar player. But 2, I wanted to do all the parts myself, all the guitar parts. And we did, like I said, we did 8 songs in a couple weeks. And I think I played like 10 different guitars. Like I did my normal Telecaster stuff and acoustic stuff, but I played baritone. I played nylon string. I played a Gibson SG, more like rock kind of thing. I played a high strung guitar, which is like the high 6 strings of a 12 string to make like the full track sound like a 12 string. And it was it was a blast. I learned so much about how to play different kind of styles, and I put on a lot of different hats in the studio. So that I'm thrilled about.
And speaking of learning so much and your growth over the past few years, and of course you're referring to your publishing deal with Ronnie Dunn's publishing company. So how has that been going for you, and how has that kind of reinforced the career that you already had going and moving forward?
Yeah, so I'm not currently with Perfect Pitch anymore. I was with them for just that year, and it was so monumental for me as a songwriter to learn the ropes with that, and getting to write with guys like Ronnie for, I think we wrote 3 songs together. One of them is on my album that's going to come out, and one of them is on his, actually. So I heard that recently, and it sounds amazing. And it's a song about Texas, so
Oh,
it works
cool.
out perfectly. So yeah, I cannot stress how much I learned from him, and continue to. We're still in touch all the time, and then he'll call me about some stuff, and vice versa, and all that. And I still have relationships with a lot of the writers that I made that in that year, and I go up, about once every 2 months and grab 5 or 6 songs in a week and come back. So it's been great, but I'm more in a season now of um, putting the music out, and I'm focused a lot on that, on the recording and the release strategy and the videos and everything. So I'm not writing quite as much right now, but I've still got a ton of ideas in the bank that I'm ready to bring up to Nashville when the time comes.
Oh, I bet you do. So how's life on the road and your live shows going?
Good. It's going great. We just started working with a new agent out of Houston, Trey Newman with the Lee Crosby agency, and it's been I think 6 months with him now, and I've had the best 6 months touring wise that I've had yet in my career. So that's great. We got a lot of cool shows coming up as well. I've got Green Hall in September. We got Lukenbach in July for the first time. This weekend we're headlining Brewster Street in Corpus for the first time, and yeah, there's a lot of good things going on as far as touring goes.
And yes, I did see the Green Hall, the Brewster. That's so exciting. Was that venues you've been wanting to play? Have you played at Brewster yet?
We've played there once. We opened for Randall there last February, I think. But this is our first time headlining, and my buddy Matt Castillo's coming to open, and he just had his song Corazon go to #1. Saw that
Yes,
today,
yes, it
so that
was.
I bet we're gonna have some fun this weekend celebrating that. Love that guy and love sharing the stage with him. Him and his crew are an absolute blast. Lukenbach, I have never played, and Green Hall. This will be my 3rd time. I think we played there with Aaron Watson over Christmas last year, and I had the flu, so I was struggling through that one, but we made it work. And then we played there with Chad Cook Band a couple years ago, and that was a blast. So yeah, and there's a lot of other ones on the docket too. We got Hanks and McKinney again with Krager coming up. We got Panther Island Pavilion in Fort Worth coming up. So a lot of good things in the pipeline.
Yeah, a lot of good things and a lot of good music. Do you have any plans for radio releases coming up?
Not for this EP. So At Least I'm Here is kind of still out at radio and it's doing its
Mhm.
thing. That one off of the project is the most commercial sounding. Midnight Drive is, it's on the long side. It's about 5 minutes long, and I didn't even expect that. Like we wrote it and it was like, all right, this is great. Took it to the studio, had a chart for it, an itinerary, and we just played it. I was like, man, that feels good. What are we sitting at? Like 3:45, 5:10. Like, look at my producer. I'm like, "Do you want to change anything?" He was like, "Mm-mm."
Nope.
I was like, "Good, neither do I." So that one's just going to be like a streaming thing. But once these singles start rolling out for the new album, we'll definitely start focusing on which ones are going to be sent out to radio and not, because there's plenty of them that are super commercial.
Super exciting. Okay, so with all the music and all the shows that you're doing, are you having time to catch up on baseball or golfing or fishing or any just downtime for you?
Yeah, I when I'm at home, like tonight I probably will. I watch pretty much every Astros game I can. I haven't been to one yet this year. I'm probably gonna try to go this month. But I do that pretty much every night when I'm at home or just relaxing. I did play golf last weekend, but I haven't played very much. We went on the boat for Memorial Day, so
Mhm.
I get to fit in a little bit of downtime here and there. But my brain is always thinking about music and what I'm not doing for my career. Like, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. But it's important to find that balance.
Yes, yes. And yeah, hopefully the Astros game will be better tonight than last night.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough. We look like we're on the comeback trail now, but those Rangers, man,
They're
they're
up there, aren't they?
they're for real this year. They can
That
hit.
but you know what? That'll make it exciting.
There's some actual competition now. We're not just
Yes.
cruising into the postseason. Although that was fun too.
Right.
That was fun
Well,
too.
is there anything else we need to cover that we haven't? I was trying to go through my notes and look. I know we mainly want to talk about the EP and just catch up with you. And it looks like I'm so proud of you. You're doing so great. And I still remember how much fun we had when we did the Christmas special
Oh yeah.
back during Christmas time. Do you still have your pot holder?
Yes, it's in my office
Just
upstairs. I think it's in
just
my
asking.
office.
I
I
have some really cool games planned for next year.
That's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be a
Yeah,
blast.
that was
No,
so fun.
I shoot. I think we covered it. Yeah, the new EP out and new album on its way. Expecting the first single to come out. Probably at the beginning of fall or into summer,
Mhm.
August, September. That's the plan, but you never know. You never know what's gonna happen.
Well, we and everyone will so look forward to that. And again, it's always so nice to visit and catch up with you. And thanks for taking the time to come and visit with us, Hayden Baker.
Absolutely, Helen. Thank y'all for having me. Kyle, you as well, and can't wait to see you guys out on the road again.